And it's time for us to start. I'm Dan McCoy. I'm the facilitator of this show. This is Mike.
Hi, I'm Mike Niederman. I'm the talent.
And this is Jack. Jack, what are you doing here?
Hi, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm Jack. So.
And that's the way we like it. This is Niederman Describes.
Not Niederman Explains. You've already kiboshed that one.
That's right. So the reason for this show is because one of my favorite things about Mike is his uncanny and almost supernatural ability to retain information about pop culture, about art, and to be able to describe it in ways that are both exhilarating, exciting, infuriating, and all sorts of other ings. So
I'm sitting on a burp right now, just to let you know.
You can let it out.
I wish I would. I wish I could.
It's
in
just
here.
trapped.
Don't point towards me, point towards him.
It's trapped in the gullet right here.
Trapped in the gullet. The Mike Niederman story. That's your memoir.
Trapped in the gullet. It's a 10-part R. Kelly musical montage.
I can't wait for it.
Trapped in the gullet.
And
then I picked up my gun.
That'll be a future subject for our show. But in the meantime, also in the producer booth is Flip Wilson.
Hi, Flip.
Hi, Flip. And he is going to be toggling different cameras back and forth.
Camera one?
There's only two.
Camera two.
By way of a little bit of introduction, a little bit of an origin story, the four of us met over 10 years ago as part of a playwrights group called Robo-Writers, and we have gone through various incarnations since, and we've stayed friends over the years. And you've seen us, if you've seen other episodes of this, if they have aired by now. But there is a fifth point in our pentagram who is sadly absent. And I think we might be able to rectify that right now. And the magic occurs. That was the cue. Here it comes.
See you.
Oh my goodness! Hello!
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
This is Bronwyn Clark, the fifth sort of long-term member of Crosstown Playwrights.
Which was what Robo-Writers turned
Robo-Writers.
into.
And she's joining us via Skype from Chicago.
Hello.
We should be able to see her on the monitor, but unfortunately that's not happening. But we can hear her.
There she
Oh my goodness, hello!
So Bronwyn, hi. Who's that in the background?
What's that?
There's no one in the background.
Who do we hear in the background?
There may be soon, but there's no one there now.
Okay.
Oh, I thought I heard another voice.
Oh,
That might have
yet.
just been
That's in your
Jack.
head. That's in your head.
That's not the first time Jack's been associated with a small child, so.
So
But
Bronwyn,
I want to be clear that I can't see you guys. So
Okay.
Right.
I
Oh.
have
Good.
a great visual in my head thanks to the audio that I heard before you came on. But it's great to imagine you here, and it's great to be talking with you.
well, we can see you directly. And again, let me compliment you on the deft color choice of your top and the background. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you for being so prepared. Bronwyn, one of the reasons I wanted to have you here on the show today was to sort of give us a background and our viewers sort of a recap of what was our first group activity as a writers group. Can you sort of walk us through that again? Take us down memory lane.
So the first Robo-Writers meeting I went to, so I found you guys on Craigslist. Actually, let's be clear, it was Flip who organized this.
That's right.
That's
So
absolutely right.
Flip put an ad on Craigslist looking for writers. And it was the early 2000s, so it was still legit to answer a Craigslist ad for a writing group.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going to the first
still is.
meeting at, where were we, Manhattan Theater Club, like in their conference room.
That's right.
Yeah. And it was Flip and some other people who didn't stick around in the long term. And I can't remember what everyone was writing about, but then shortly, if my memory serves, shortly after that, Dan or Jack was one of the first ones to come to like the next meeting. And then Mike got roped in. And then eventually, like, all of the other people fell away. Like, the Craigslist ad was still on, but, like, every now and then some random person would come in. But we very quickly sort of congealed into a group. That's my recollection.
Right. And I recall there was a certain sort of infiltration scheme that Flip organized.
Yes.
Oh.
Would you like to talk to us about that? Give us a
Yeah.
little, like, 90-second recap of that?
Yeah, that was, well, it was when so every Sunday night down in Lower Manhattan, there used to be this thing called Slam, which is where playwrights would go. It was so amazing. You would go and you could get your work read. It was like a competition, but it was like this great community of writers who just wanted to have their stuff read. And I think it was Flip's idea that we should, as a way to like make a statement, we should write this piece and basically like force ourselves into slam. So make sure that every scene that got read was a scene from this play.
Right.
And it ended up working for like 20 minutes. Like
until they figured it out.
And then somebody figured it out and they were like, what's going on? But then we managed to get like 2 other scenes up still in the interim where people were trying to figure it out. And then I think we basically got kicked out of that session of slam.
I think we sort of just got yelled at.
Yeah.
Who was the main character of that writing exercise? Do you remember?
Conrad.
Tell me about Conrad.
Oh, I remember.
Oh, Conrad.
I don't remember Conrad. The only thing I remember really about, well, he was like, he was this like ne'er-do-well who went to Africa and like took over a country. Is that right? Like,
yeah, he was like a despot.
Yeah. Jinx. The only thing I really remember about that was one of my assignments was to write the death scene for Conrad, and I went so overboard that I think Flip almost threw that.
You can't see it, but a caption just came up. Bronwyn Clark, or McDaniel, actual adult.
Actual adult. Well, I have to say that Flip is an adult now too, but nowhere near as adult as you.
Right.
Yes. We are the 3 men, children left.
Yes.
Well, so does anyone else remember anything about Conrad? Like, that is my very hazy recollection of how that all went down.
Hey, Flip, voice of God, can you, or Mike, do you remember?
I wasn't there.
You were not there for that.
I was not there for that one.
Oh.
Oh.
Flip, will you, if you...
Not that particular slam.
Will you be audible if you come in over the God mic?
I believe so.
Oh, I hear you.
I have a conversation with you guys because I have to completely mute you in the room in order to talk.
Okay.
But Conrad was, I don't recall who all was involved. Oh, you know who was? George. You guys remember George?
Oh, yeah, George.
I remember
Percio.
George.
Yeah, I totally remember that guy.
Yes.
He was, and we all, you got to submit 2-minute segments. So we brought like 6 2-minute segments out of a total of 10 people who brought segments that evening.
That's right.
So
well,
over like 60 minutes out of a.
I'm gonna steer this a little bit because we are in a time limit, and the reason I wanted to talk about Conrad, other than Bronwyn, to have you be a part of this, which please stick around for the rest of the episode. But if you have to go, mother about, that's totally legit too.
Well, I'm so excited to be here, and I'm gonna hang out as long as I can.
Cool.
Excellent,
So hang out and listen. We're gonna sort of dive into the main section of our show, in which I'm gonna be showing Mike a YouTube video.
Mike gets to.
Mike's going to describe what he sees, and then we're just going to sort of take it from there.
Okay.
So
Should
Mike,
I put my headphones on?
Yeah, go ahead and plug these in right here.
I don't know what this is, at least not from the title of it.
Okay.
Nothing to see right now.
Here we go.
So whatever it is, this thing that I'm watching this. Okay, so this is a narration where there's some sort of Henry Darger illustration of these young girls, and he did those weird sorts of like sexualization of small children in a way sort of echoed by not Neil Gaiman but Alan Moore's latest comic book. And this is sort of an outsider art thing that was from the 30s, 40s, something like that. So what I'm looking at right now are close-ups and analysis of these images that Henry Darger created and then narrated by some guy. I'm seeing this for the first time, so I'm trying to listen to it, but I'm seeing naked angel babies floating around a giant Christian heart. I'm seeing these small children being attacked by Africans and what look like Egyptians in a very early 20th century, late 19th century, foreign hordes sort of way.
Right, we're going to stop it there.
And that looks like a very Jacob Riis sort of photograph there. Small children in beds, 1920s. This is how the other half lives. Tenement houses and whatnot. So this is this just a documentary film?
It is. This was a documentary film made in, I guess 2004, called In the Realms of the Unreal, which was sort of an analysis of Darger's work.
Okay.
And sort of a history of his life. You know, he was a janitor. He was a very, you know, and they discovered these, you know, this 10,000-page novel that he had written about
he's sort of the
Vivian sisters.
The quintessential outsider artist.
And talk to me about outsider art. What does that mean to you?
Okay, well, it's sort of weird because everyone in this room is an artist in some way, shape, or form, and everyone in this room is an outsider in some way, shape, or form, because there is artistic success, which in some way eludes us. Now, what that artistic success means differs from person to person, and what is art differs from person to person in this room, and what it means to be an outsider differs from person to person. But at the same time, all of us went to school. All of us got our degrees. All of us got our masters in writing. So we are not outsiders. We're just aspiring. An outsider is a kind of a savant, some weirdo, and this now it's classist because he's not an artist. He's a janitor. Harvey Picar's not an artist. He
Worked in the post office.
He worked for he worked in administration in a hospital.
Oh.
Bukowski worked in the post office. So what does it mean to be an artist? Do you need to be just going to salons in Paris in the 1920s and drinking absinthe and then creating great works in an afternoon and spending the rest of your summer lounging around? Can you have a day job? What makes them outsiders? Do they have a day job? Or is it just the fact that he never tried to show anyone this work during his lifetime? Is he untrained? I don't know. Am I untrained? Am I self-trained? Are you untrained? I don't even know what that means. But he is because his work also is not about himself. This is not the memoirs of a janitor, like Harvey Picar, which is essentially the memoirs and the musings of this VA hospital administrator, or Bukowski, the memoirs and musing of a drunk. Henry Danger's stuff is so far removed from his experience, from what I know about him, but also so clearly made up as he went along, and yet so without having any sort of the footing in whatever schools were prevalent at that time. The art schools, whatever was going on, he wasn't part of that. He didn't learn from that. He created in a vacuum. And so that's sort of an outsider art. It's not folk art. Folk art you kind of picture as like Mennonites somewhere in Pennsylvania creating a Cupid doll or a chair or a shawl. This is just some weird, creepy old guy doing a 1,000-page graphic novel about little girls on adventures, but they're in their underwear. With penises in their underwear.
Right. But it's funny you should mention folk art because now Darger is sort of the featured artist. Like his work is on permanent display at the American Museum of Folk Art over by Lincoln Center.
Right.
He is to them as like Kandinsky is to the Guggenheim.
Except does the American Museum of Folk Art actually exist anymore? Because I know there was a whole thing. Is there a building for the folk art? Because for a while there wasn't.
They're in a building. They're in the Latter-day Saints building.
For a while there wasn't, and for
they
a while
tore down the building that was next to MoMA to make room for more MoMA.
Right.
Which was a shame because I love their old building.
Yes, exactly.
It was
I haven't been a MoMA since the new MoMA. But for a while, what is folk art became sort of a controversy because there wasn't a building. It was just a idea where they were allowed to raise money, and it was about the greed of the art world. And yes, he's featured in the folk art building, but he didn't get any of this money, and half of those folk artists didn't get any of this money. But someone's making money from them.
Sure.
Because there's a lot more money in the art world than there is in theater. As the Tonys made evidence that they couldn't even pay Bette Midler to sing Hello, Dolly.
Was that what that was about? They couldn't pay her?
I don't know. They couldn't.
Or did she just want to save her voice?
Couldn't, wouldn't, didn't want to. At the end of the day, we got a song from that number that had been cut from
David
most
Hyde
productions.
No one's going there to see David Hyde Pierce.
I'm sorry, David Hyde Pierce. Everybody loves you. Okay, so that's Henry Danger.
We're moving on.
It's sort of creepy and weird.
Yeah.
I recently saw some of Alan Moore's most recent.
Are you talking about Lost Girls?
Lost Girls.
Okay.
Which
I've heard about. I haven't read it yet.
It's sort of like you can't just glance at it. Like Watchmen, you have to really study each panel. Right. So it's not the kind of thing that you can glance at on the internet.
Describe Lost Girls to Jack.
Lost Girls, as far as I understand Lost Girls, it's Alan Moore of Watchmen fame doing an attempt to tell the sexual adventures of Snow White, Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, and maybe Alice in Wonderland. I don't know which characters as they go
I think
through
it's Alice, Wendy from Peter Pan.
Okay.
Oh.
And
Someone else. But it's really sexual. It's really, really, really sexual.
Like visually, graphically sexual?
Who gee, Wendy, who do we have to fuck to get out of this one? Sexual.
and then they find out who.
And then
they do that.
And then they fuck him.
Yeah.
Does she fuck Peter Pan?
I don't
that's what I want to
know.
know.
I've written a show about when Wendy fucks Peter Pan.
Really?
Yes, I've written a show when Wendy's mom fucks Peter Pan, and then they have a kid, and then Peter Pan comes back and tries to seduce Wendy's kid. It was a little short play.
We'll do a reading of it next time.
Let's be clear. Mike's written all those shows, right?
Yes, I have. But the point is that like Alan Moore couldn't have Henry Danger wrote these in a room somewhere. Darger wrote this in a room somewhere in the Midwest without talking to anyone.
Right.
Alan Moore knew what he was
culture,
doing.
Yeah.
Knew what he was doing.
And he was already established. He knew that there was...
And knew that there would be a huge uproar over this kind of thing where, Alan Moore, you can't write prepubescent girls naked having sex.
You
Why
remember
not?
all the uproar
I have a
over
beard.
Lost Girls, don't you?
I have a beard.
Yes. In fact, I was just thinking about it this morning.
But there was, especially in the comics world. You'd have to go to Jim Hanley's Universe, which is a comic book store in used to be in Midtown and then it moved someplace else in Midtown. You have to go to the dirty section of the comic book store. So,
as Mike does on a regular basis.
No, not as regular as I want to. I'm up there every week. But the point is that, like, who's to say, like, why can't we do these things anymore that are dangerous? Or maybe we can, maybe we can't, maybe we're just scared to. Especially if what's happening in the public theater right now, where they are killing Donald Trump on stage because he's Julius Caesar. And last night, two right-wing protesters protested it, calling it, "You're the new Goebbels."
Mm-hmm. That is ridiculous. That's just totally
They interrupted the performance.
ridiculous.
Introduced the performance in the middle of it.
You know what? I love it. I want to be there when that happens.
Yeah, I kind of wish I was there.
But is it ridiculous? I mean...
Yes, it is, because I'll tell you why. Because I think it was like in 2012, I think it was the Guthrie did a production of Julius Caesar with Obama as Caesar. And I didn't hear any right-wing conservative pundits complaining about killing the president then.
Did you hear any left-wing liberal pundits?
No, nobody cared.
Right.
But it's not okay when it's Donald Trump.
Right, or...
Which is a pretty common practice with that play.
Exactly.
To insert whoever is in power
the leader at the
or
time.
who is in office.
The thing about putting
into
Trump into Julius Caesar is not a new or original idea.
19th
People have been doing that since the play was written.
That's why Julius Caesar exists theatrically, is to think about the current leadership that we have.
There's even a line in the play that
is about Donald Trump.
No, that's someone reflecting like how many more times will we see this? How many more times will this play out?
Yeah.
And that could be referring to people grabbing power and then being torn down, or it could just mean how many times is this play going to get performed and someone's going to use it as a Rorschach test. 2004, 5, whatever, The Kingsman came out, and spoiler alert, the ending of The Kingsman involving the blowing up of like the world leadership, and one of those was a character clearly supposed to be Obama. We see Obama's head explode. And at that point in that movie, it was like hey, third act shenanigans, big explosions. If you save the world, says the damsel in distress, I'll let you fuck me up the ass. That's a quote. I'll let you do me up the butt. And the last shot of the film is her butthole. I'm going to keep us on track here.
Yes, please do.
And I'm going to bring up a new clip.
Is it going to be
Mike,
from the end of that
tell
page?
us what you see.
Okay, so this is the candidate, which is... this is sort of the middle of the candidate when Robert Redford is a politician's son in the 60s running for senator of California. And in the beginning of it, he is just like a young son. No one takes him seriously. But at this point in the film, he is being taken seriously. And the whole film is about Robert Redford becoming more and more successful as a politician, but losing his ability to be able to know what it is that he needs to talk about. And he is talking in 1968 or 1970, whenever this movie came out, 72. He is talking about income inequality. He is talking about two Americas. He is talking about the 99%. And yes, this is liberal, and yes, this is Robert Redford. But these issues have not ended, and there has got to be a better way, he says. And of course, it's Robert Redford, so he's gorgeous. But nothing has changed. Absolutely nothing has changed. It's gotten 1,000 times worse because we've lost the will, the ability, the sheer energy and strength to do the work that's necessary. And the other side, the right wing, when it is okay if you're a Republican, but if anything happens to a Republican figure on stage, they attack. They have more energy than we do.
Pause.
And now we're here to election, which is the actual election scene from Election, where Matthew Broderick swings the election against the Tracy Flick, which is the career-defining role by Reese Witherspoon. But we're not watching that scene right now. We're watching a teenage girl say, what the fuck does this election mean? Do you think this election, high school election, is going to change anything about here? Make one single person smarter or happier? And this is actually really important for me because as I was a former public school teacher, the last school I was at had horrible discipline issues. And every day we'd be like, okay, you have a detention, you have a detention. Didn't mean anything. Detention was just the way of the world. And I said, let's try to do something positive. Let's have an actual student body election. And I remember one of the worst behaved students came up, had a breakdown on stage crying about we need to be nicer to each other. We got to stop picking on each other. It doesn't matter who I am. It doesn't matter who you are. And she's crying. They're all cheering her. This is the girl that everyone made fun of, just chanting her name, chanting her name, chanting her name, just like what's happening here, saying we can use this as an opportunity to be better. And she didn't win. She didn't get enough votes, but I thought that was going to be a moment in the school where everything was going to be turned around. So I got my 6 kids, 2 kids from each grade. I'm like, the first thing we're going to do a fundraiser for something having nothing to do with the school. We're not going to ask for anything. We are going to give something. And we had an idea. Let's do a fundraiser for this thing, for this, for this, for this. We bring it to the principal, and the principal says, bureaucracy. And you have to do it this way or it's not going to happen.
Wow.
And of course it didn't happen because you had all of those kids in a meeting with like 10 other teachers and her and the dean and everyone else. Like, if you want to raise money for animals in the neighborhood, you have to go through this thing, that thing. Like, we just want to do a fucking bake sale. And like, this is why there is no change. Is because for any change to happen, someone gets in the way of it. And now we're at the last clip, and hopefully I'll be seeing erect penises here, because this is a clip from Caligula. So this is Roddy McDowell. Caligula is Malcolm McDowell, not Roddy, which was produced by Bob, the guy who produces Penthouse. Guccione. Right. Bob Guccione, who wanted to do the orgy-filled production of Caligula. And unfortunately what happened is that there were Shakespearean level scenes and then scenes of other people fucking. And it didn't really work. It didn't really congeal together. And so this is
what's happening in the scene?
Caligula asking for unanimous repeal of the Senate to do something. I don't know what, I missed that. And Caligula is trying to seize power or not being able to seize power, but he is getting power. They're all agreeing with him. All of the Roman Senate, and this is late in Rome's history, he's a god now, says somebody. There's a Richard O'Brien character. He is able to seize control out of sheer force of will, which is, that's the problem with liberals, is that we are so invested in the other person getting their voice heard that shit doesn't happen. That we believe in equality and democracy, but we don't believe in functionality. And he's mad. Caligula is mad, but Caligula got something done, and now he is trapping all of the Roman Senate under a tarp, and they're being whipped. And I'm guessing something really bad's going to happen to them under there. If I had my druthers, they might burn to death or something. I don't know. So I've just seen 4 clips about politics. 4 clips about elections, 4 clips about stump speeches, 4 clips about why politicians do what they do, or why don't they do what they do, or what the point of it all is. So my question for you, Dan, was what was the point of the first clip?
The point of the first clip of the Henry Darger?
Yeah, the outsider artist thing.
I'm interested in the question of outsider art versus outsider politics.
Very good. We're in an outsider politics decade right now.
And with the obviously the Robert Redford character in The Candidate, the Tammy character in Election, and also to a certain extent the Caligula character in this, coming up and just sort of seizing power, we have a number of outsiders to a certain extent taking power or attempting to within these political contexts in fiction. And so I want to just pose the question, like, what parallels can we draw between those things?
Except for the fact that, yes, Tammy was an outsider and she tries to upend the system, and the system prevents any votes from going to her. This is an election. And in The Candidate, Robert Redford is the son of the governor, so maybe he hasn't put in the many years, but he's not an outsider. He's just an upstart. And then what was the other clip that you showed?
Caligula.
Caligula. But, so that was the first clip was
Darger.
Right.
Yeah.
Caligula. So who was Caligula?
I don't know much about him.
Was he? Did he seize power? Was it hereditary at this point?
I was hoping you would know, 'cause I couldn't remember.
None of us really know. We're going to comp to that right now.
Bronwyn, you're the adult. Do you know who Caligula was in this time in Rome?
You're also at a computer, so you can Google it.
Yes, you have the internet.
Yeah, you read my mind, Jack. Caligula. Let's see.
And it's almost time to wrap up, so this is going to be our final thought.
Right.
Who was Caligula?
Who was Caligula?
Roman emperor, not to be confused with Julius Caesar.
Right.
Let's hope not.
Let's see. He lived from AD 12 to AD 41. Oh man, Wikipedia goes deep on this. Let's see.
We don't have time for that. We are at the credits now. But
I guess we'll never know that.
In a future version of this, we will be drawing a closer comparison, actually, between Henry Darger and Donald Trump. I did get a little sidelined with the other clips, but it was still fun to look at and talk about.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. And
Thanks,
thank you, Bronwyn.
Thank you, guys. It was so great to join you. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll do this again in a few episodes.
Definitely. All right. Take care.
Bye.
Hey, you're the talent.
Oh, bye, little guy.
Bye. Flipper, we out?
She's out.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, that's good. Okay, can I make a note?
Yeah.
That might have been too many clips.
Probably.
Right. If we're gonna, the first episode we did was 45 minutes. If we're gonna do 22, it's got to be. Maybe I talk less. I don't know.
Right.
I should talk.
That could be a thing, but however, it is. I haven't
like the
found.
idea of it a
I haven't
lot.
found a way to cut you off. I just haven't found a way to do
Maybe
that.
we need a bell.
And I don't think I have. I don't think there
like a little
is.
bell.
I don't think there is a way to do that.